Good evening. More than 1,000 people are being evacuated from their homes in West London after being told it would be too risky to stay. The housing association at Notting Hill Genesis told people living at the Paragon development in Brentford today that they need to leave immediately because of structural issues and fire safety fears. They've been moved to other properties or hotels with no idea how long it will be until they can return home. Our correspondent Simon Harris has the latest.
People living in the Paragon have been in limbo for years. The development was stripped of its cladding in the aftermath of the Grenfell Tower fire. But it wasn't enough, apparently, to make the 6 blocks safe. Today, everyone inside was ordered to leave.
It's going to be tough. I mean, a hotel room with a 15-month-old baby is going to be very, very tough.
Yeah,
with all these toys, we don't know what we can move. It's just a headache.
If we didn't have a baby, it might be a little bit more straightforward for us, but We're just worried about how we're going to feed him and get washing done and etc. and things like that.
The Paragon's residents include almost 700 students. They're being moved to temporary homes in Wembley. These students told us they tested positive for coronavirus.
We live together in a flat and we all have to isolate together for 14 days, and it only started a day or two ago. And we've got an email today saying we've got a week to move out.
So we're supposed to be isolating and now moving all of our stuff.
The development in Brentford is owned by a housing association, Notting Hill Genesis, which says the evacuation follows a safety review. Experts have concluded the way the Paragon was built may put residents at risk.
We had a little Zoom call and they said something about because of Grenfell they have to be more careful.
They haven't told us why we can't stay there and why the urgent evacuation of everybody. I'm seeing neighbours packing their stuff and leaving with their kids, and I'm thinking, like, you can't be doing this to families just like a knock over the door and expect them to leave within 48 hours.
The Housing Association says people moving into hotels will get financial help. Being evicted from your home at any time would be traumatic, but this is happening in a pandemic when people have more than enough to worry about.
We understand that this is really distressing for people to be asked to move out of their homes this week, but based on the latest advice that we have to put resident safety first.
Javid Farahani isn't surprised.
The fire alarm on a regular basis goes on for many minutes, and you just don't know if it's a serious alarm or if it's a faulty alarm. So every single time at 1 a.m., at 3 a.m., at 5 a.m., sometimes 2 p.m.
Berkeley First, which built the Paragon, declined to comment tonight. Notting Hill Genesis plans further investigations into the fire safety and structural problems before any decision on when or if it's safe for people to return. Simon Harris, ITV News, Brentford.
Our political correspondent Simon Harris is here. Simon, do you think that is a possibility that the government will take direct control of TfL?
Well, it's clear that relations between the government and City Hall have reached rock bottom. You only had to listen to Boris Johnson in the Commons there, repeatedly accusing Sadiq Khan of bankrupting TfL. But for ministers to actually take control of the organisation would be pretty seismic. Transport for London was set up 20 years ago to coincide with London's first directly elected mayor. Running transport was one of the few real powers given to the new mayor. Boris Johnson knows that well. He was mayor. He argued for even greater powers to be given to City Hall. But right now you sense that there's no appetite in Downing Street to let local politicians have more control. Witness the bust-up yesterday between Downing Street and the authorities in Manchester over lockdown restrictions. In London, add in the mix of next year's mayoral election, and you can't help but conclude that right now Londoners are caught in the crossfire of an almighty political row between the former mayor and the current mayor and his predecessor.
Yeah, OK, Simon, thank you.
Now, when we talk about things going back to normal, what are the chances of things like office workers returning to a normal 5-day week once the pandemic passes? Well, the City of London Corporation now thinks that's very unlikely, especially because some workers are swapping city life for a sea view, all whilst working from home, as our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
It's amazing here that you've got 2 minutes away and you're on the beach.
Beatrice Andrew is living the dream. She's in marketing. It used to mean going to an office in Elephant and Castle, but thanks to COVID, she works from home. And now she no longer has to commute, she's moved to Bournemouth.
Living in London for 9 years, it's pretty exhausting. You've got all the energy and the amazing people and the amazing opportunities and the arts and culture. But, you know, it does sometimes take its toll. It's quite nice to get back to what's really important.
Nowhere is the exodus of commuters from London more evident than in the central business districts, the City, Canary Wharf and the West End. In a recent survey of 1,000 Londoners carried out for the business organisation London First, 3/4 said they are or will be working from home.
I'm desperately sad, unbelievably sad.
The City has been part of David Buick's life for almost 60 years.
The joy of the world, for me, is eyeball-to-eyeball contact with people, friendships, developing ideas, being able to negotiate deals, all these kind of things, expressing new ideas. That's all gone.
Outside Liverpool Street Station, there's little movement on the taxi rank. There are fewer passengers and more restrictions on where cabs can go to make it easier for pedestrians and cyclists.
Desperately quiet. There's definitely a change in London with the Mayor's plans, with the road closures.
Even when we get people in the cab with the bus gates and all that, we got to take people around the block. I've been to work and worked for 7-8 hours for 40, 50 quid.
Catherine McGuinness is the politician in charge of the City of London Corporation.
We are hearing that people will be working in a much more flexible way, unlikely to be coming back to 5 days a week, and that's a positive. But we're not hearing a wish to exodus the centre. It does mean we need to reimagine how that centre works. I'm more worried about the supporting ecosystem, the cafes, the restaurants, the hairdressers, the bars that are dependent on footfall here in the centre. They're really suffering at the moment.
Even when the COVID crisis is over, there are parts of London, it seems, which will have changed forever.
And Simon joins us now from the Late Debate studio in Westminster. Simon, what can we expect on your programme tonight?
Well, Charlene, on the Late Debate tonight, we'll discuss the effects of coronavirus on London and try to plot a way forward. We'll also talk about the increasingly bitter row between the government and City Hall over a bailout for TfL. The Mayor told the London Assembly today he wouldn't accept the government's handout if it came with certain conditions.
No, I'm not willing to extend the congestion charge to the North and South Circular like your government wants me to do. No, I'm not willing to make all of Londoners who pay council tax pay huge increases in council tax to get a deal with your government. No, I'm not willing to accept your government's condition to increase fares well above inflation. No.
We have gone to the Mayor with a long list of different things that he could do. It's up to him what he does, but I want to make it absolutely clear to the House. It is his choice, and we are not going to require him to extend the congestion charge anywhere.
To talk about that, I'll be joined in the studio by two East London MPs, Conservative Andrew Rossendale, who represents Romford, and Labour's Wes Streeting from Ilford North, plus Daisy Cooper, the Lib Dem MP for St Albans. That's the Late Debate here on ITV after news at 10. Charlene.
And look forward to watching it, Simon. Thank you.